Welcome to the channel, everybody. It's a nice, not so bright morning in Macclesfield. We're actually collecting the Gen 2 Mark II GR Yaris today. So, let's get on with it. I'm going to unveil the car myself because we're that early. There's literally nobody here. We're in the dealership, it's still locked. Don't ask us how we got in. We're great at bank robberies. Here we go. This is when it's not our car that's under the cover. Oh, that's definitely our car. You want to check out that number plate, it's very befitting of a GR Yaris. WR World Rally. What a great plate. I was really hoping though they could have got my initials a bit closer. Because Andrew, John, Gibson, I was hoping for AJG, but still, that's a cracking plate to come on the car. So, we're probably going to stop the video there, because obviously we're here, don't know where the keys are for the car, but I can unlock the car using my mobile phone.
So Andrew has unveiled the car, and I'm just going to go over my first impressions on things I've noticed. So first of all, I love the colour. Precious metal I think is really, really nice. I'm glad we went for it. We saw it for the first time at Goodwood. I'm not sure Andrew was that keen, but I've always liked the grey. I really like that they have this new colour in the Mark II, and I think in the showroom you can really see that the metallic fleck in the paint, which I really like, and I think it looks fantastic. Other things I've noticed on the interior obviously is the biggest change, and I actually really like the new interior. A lot of people hate the dash, and in the photos I did think the dash looked really ugly.
Let's just give you the key so it stops beeping and annoying.
Oh, here we go. The key is the same. I've got a key cover already, so that's good that my other key cover will actually fit on this key.
You can see how much more windscreen you've got now from inside the cabin. No obstructions. Lower dash, higher up mirror. Anyway, carry on, B.
Yeah, the seating position I think is really nice because this, yeah, like Andrew said, you've got way more visibility. And even though the dash, I think a lot of people thought it was really ugly in the pictures, and I agree that it does look quite ugly in the pictures. In person, it makes a lot of sense, and you get this like cockpit feeling, which I think is really nice. And also, it looks really angular and square and just really out of place. But when you see it inside the car, from like a driver perspective, you don't get any of that. It just really suits it, and I like it. And I like that the screen's integrated into the dash. You've got like the start, stop button, and the hazards is like much easier to get to. You don't have a slot anymore to put your phone, but you don't need to anymore because it actually has wireless CarPlay now anyway. So you've got wireless Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay is wireless, but you do have like a USB-C instead of a USB-A port, which like you used to have. I think all the heater controls and everything is the same, which is good that that's not touchscreen, it's still actual buttons. The radio we've not, oh, it's actually just come on. So we've got the radio is quite different, I think. Let's just agree to that. Yeah, it looks like really different software to what they had before. It's been updated. We've not played with it yet, but it does have a built-in sat-nav now. We've not tried the sound system yet, but I'll give that a go on the first drive. But just like first impressions from sitting in it, it feels so much better.
What about the seat?
Oh yeah, the seat apparently is slightly different. They said the bolsters, and I think from memory, I think the bolsters do seem like they're a little bit higher, so you feel like you're more in a bucket seat. And obviously the seating position is much lower as well. It just feels, yeah, natural, feels nice. You don't feel like you're sat up on the car anymore. You feel like you're sat in it, which is what you want for a sports car. Yeah.
Do you want to show people other differences you spotted from looking at?
The carpet's different. It's one of the first things I noticed when I got in, but the previous car actually had proper carpet, and now it has kind of a, I don't know, like cardboardy type feeling.
We're being told it's a weight-saving measure due to they've increased weight in other areas, so to keep the weight the same, they changed the carpet material.
They the carpet basically. And obviously the drive modes and everything are like a little bit different, and the dash is digital now. And then in the boot,
you
actually get a mat, which is nice. Oh,
yeah.
The light bar's lit up.
Oh, there you go. So it all does light up. Look at that, looks wicked, that does. And the keen eye would have spotted the amazing number plate that the cars come with.
Press the brake light and we can see what happens.
Yeah, go on. So we have a World Rally number plate, WR-74. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the hazards. brake lights. It won't light up because the engine's not running. Oh yeah, reverse that's lit up actually. Yeah, so you got a LED reversing light as well. Yeah, turn the hazards off. Sweet. Do you want to come give us a tour of the boot then?
It's pretty much the same, but you get a boot mat now.
Yeah, £10,000 boot mat.
It's actually quite a nice boot mat, to be fair.
Well, it should be for 10 grand.
The previous one, you didn't get that before.
Do you want to show them the intercooler bottle and take the safety spray out?
You get this now. I don't think our other one came with one of those.
Yeah, I think that's...
Safety kit for Europe. Take the boot mat out.
Be careful, that's £10,000 that boot mat. So you got your intercooler spray. And that. Water only.
And a few tools.
Yeah, and the usual, you know, tyre pressure kit. You get a flat. I think that's a tyre goo kit. I think the battery also looks a bit smaller than last time, you know. I think they've actually saved weight with the battery as well, because that looks a tinier battery to me. Can't 100% confirm that, but it does look a smaller battery. Thank you.
Yeah, it does it have start-stop battery before, doesn't it?
Yeah, probably still does have stop-start, but the battery looks smaller.
That's it, stop-start.
Careful with that mat, it's very expensive.
It is a nice mat, but...
Right, it should be. It costs enough.
This is the same. Yeah, the exhaust is different as well.
Yeah, slightly bigger. Do they pass a fist test?
Nearly. The outer tip does.
Yeah. Yeah, a girl can now fist the exhaust.
Should we open the bonnet?
Yeah. Right, let's go around. I say we did show this briefly in the PDI video, but we can do it again. Do you want to take over holding the camera and I'll do the pointing?
Yes, go on.
Of what's under the bonnet? Don't press stop. We're going to keep this live. Right, now I remember how to do it. Oh yes, look at that for skill. I remember this always being a pain on the first one because you have to give it such a yank. Yeah. There we go. It sounds awful. Then make sure that's up nice and high. Don't want to scratch anything down here, and then it rests there. There we are. So you got your coolant. Got enough total for their nice bright pink coolant. You got here your cover. Yeah, we'll give you a quick display of what's underneath here. It's not held on. There we go. So there's not really anything pretty to see.
That's ugly, isn't it?
That's why you have this cover, because it basically hides all of this nastiness.
I wouldn't know if this looks any different, to be honest, than the other car.
So obviously it's a 3-cylinder engine.
Same as before. This is different though.
Should I try to put this back on camera and see if I can do it in line it up in one go?
You could balance it on top.
No, I'll do it properly. Because it's so new. Where's the third one? There it is. The one down here, or is that on? I think that's on now. So say you've got your slightly bigger intake. On the original car, you'd sometimes get it where this would pop out. So I wonder if they've actually tried to solve that by making it maybe a bit more of a tighter fit. I think that'll be that's your fuse box. Fuse is in there, air filter there, air intake goes in there.
Yeah, I think that's the only bit that's different
from
memory.
This time we'll close the bonnet right, because there was a few complaints in that video number one that Anthony didn't shut the bonnet correctly. You have to push down. The correct way to close a GR Yaris bonnet is to drop it from high. So what I used to do with my first one is get it about here and like kind of do this little wag and then up and down, and then it drops down perfectly. So you don't have to actually push on them. Because they are aluminium, but the bonnet is completely, there's no marks, there's no dents. Even though Anthony did a few pushes, it's all safe, guys. She's all safe. Got the beautiful LED lights as seen on the first car, with the really nice pattern in the top of them. We've got the GR-Four here, and as I highlighted, we've got a lovely World Rally number plate. We did not actually buy this plate. This has come on the car. This is just pure luck that we have a World Rally. That makes the car worth an extra £5,000, that does. Everything else, we've got the beautiful BBS wheels on the car, which also look beautiful. Brakes have done a little bit of oxidation because obviously the car's been washed. I've gone around the car. The guys promised me that, because they said that initially I was going to not have them wash the car, but obviously in the PDI video we spotted that the paint was a bit mucky from being on a boat for several weeks and then a car transporter, and I thought we'll let them wash it just in case there's some marks in the paint. So they agreed. Brand new wash mitt came out, because the guys here who actually washed the car's a car enthusiast. So a brand new wash mitt, car was properly washed. And the paint, I've had my torch on the paint and there's no swirl marks in it. So my task for this week when I get the car home at some point is I'm going to give the car a very quick machine polish, just a final stage, no heavy cutting, just a very fine super polish, just to really get it. I mean, it's already amazing, and then it's going to get a 5-year G-Technic ceramic coating, just to lock in that goodness and then keep it protected for the next 5 years.
I think that's everything, isn't it?
Let's see. This light bar is amazing. If anybody ever rear engine one of these cars, they're clearly blind because. And yeah, let's see if it will pass. I haven't got the biggest of hands, but yeah, the outer, you can definitely. We'll give you another quick view of the inside with nobody in it. You can see the radio there. Seats are much lower. And what we'll do, we are going to do a first drive impressions in this video. So even though we will be cutting off the video in a minute, there will be more coming on this video, because Bryony's also going to tell us her first drive impressions in this video, which will be a mixture of me filming her while she drives, and then we'll probably do a section, maybe actually in a day or two, because the night's drawing early now, so, or we may actually get a chance to film today at work at lunchtime, where whilst it's still vivid in her memory, what she has experienced on her first drive today compared to the first car. You know, can she feel the extra vision from the dash, the different seating position, are the gears any different? Is there anything else? We're not going to be going any full throttle, so the car's only got about 20 miles on the clock now, so we're going to read the manual, RTFM, just to see. I mean, the guys here, I mean, the engines are, I believe, kind of running on benches at Toyota, but I will read the manual just to make sure, because I like to make sure everything's perfect. But what I did do on the very first drive the other day when we took the car for some fuel, working with a lot of engine builders in the past, I have done this on all the brand new cars that I've bought. So that would be my Mustang and also my first GR Yaris. Once the car was fully up to temperature and we'd filled it with Shell V-Power, we went on a dual carriageway, put the car in second gear, sorry, and we very, very gently accelerated towards 6,000 RPM. So not the rev limiter, the rev limiter is about 7 on one of these, but up to 6,000, but very gentle acceleration, so no heavy acceleration. We don't want to load a new engine, so very gently revved it up to 6,000 in second gear, and then let off the accelerator and allowed the car to slow itself down by engine braking all the way back down to 1,500 RPM. The reason I do this on a brand new engine is that you're seating the valves, and by seating the valves in such a manner is extremely good for a brand new engine. And what you'll also find is that you have no oil consumption use. And in our first GR Yaris, it never ever needed an oil top up. It never actually consumed a drop of oil, not even on track, never ever. And the same with my Ford Mustang that I did exactly the same method with. It never used a drop of oil, and I tuned that car all the way up to nearly 500 horsepower, naturally aspirated. And once that car was run in, that Mustang was driven extremely hard. Never once an issue with it. So that's a method I believe in. Take it very easy on the engine, but do seat those valves as early on as you can. There might be some people that disagree with that, but I've been told by engine builders the right way, and all the cars I've done it on, they've never used any oil. And I've never had any problems with the cars, but there it is, the Mark II Gen 2, model year 24, and it will go into 2025 and maybe 2026. Mark II Gen 2 GR Yaris, and join us shortly for some driving impressions.
It looks brilliant. Even though it's really cloudy, it looks fantastic.
We're in sport mode and we're in track mode. We're not going to go fast, but I like it set up nice with the steering. Are we filming? Okay, that is a yes. So yeah, here I am on my first drive in the well, not my first drive, because obviously I did drive it to fill it up originally, but we're on our first actual drive. Driving the car obviously gently, but we're fully up to temperature now. Our water temperature is 88 degrees and our oil temperature is sitting at 86 degrees. We've got the boost gauge, different gauge. I'm not figuring out how to get tyre pressure sensors up yet. We've got a live MPG gauge, so when I'm off the throttle it's doing 60 miles to the gallon. We've averaged 10 so far. Obviously we've been driving through Macclesfield traffic jams because it's 9 AM, so a bit of rush hour. It's 11 degrees. Got the nice dash there. Android car. The car has wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. So yeah, let me just turn the temperature down a bit. We're cooking ourselves a little bit in here. What I noticed, really just going to touch on what I did touch on the first, the car pulls off much easier than the Gen 1 car. It's almost like there's a bit more initial torque, whether I'm guessing they had a few complaints maybe about the first car. Like if you were like rolling at 2 or 3 mile an hour, nearly in any car you'll leave your car in second gear, because the car will just pull off quite easily in second gear if you're already moving at a couple of mile an hour. But the Gen 1 car would get quite upset about that, it'd rumble quite a lot. This car will literally pull off in second gear from a standstill pretty much on a flat without any grumbles at all, and rolling, no problem whatsoever. So yeah, the car is much better for pulling off. The car does ride better. Even though it's supposed to be a firmer car, I said before in my last video that I thought that maybe had different dampers. I had a few comments saying the dampers are the same, but they've changed the spring rates. Whatever they've changed, the car rides better. Definitely rides better on a lumpy, bumpy British B road. So even though it might be firmer, and I think it is firmer, the actual compression damping is improved, and whether they've done that by the spring, the damper, I'm not 100% sure, but there is an improvement, a positive. Let me put myself back into sport mode, and then normal at the moment, I've been playing with the dash settings, and go back to sport. The steering, also something I've noticed straight away, that in the sport mode, the steering is better judged. I mean, I'm not pushing the car, we're just driving at like normalish speeds, but the whole steering just feels, it's better judged, it's more natural. There might be a bit of extra weight to it as well, but it just feels nicer. They've done something to the way the steering feels, whether it's down to the alignment settings. Well, I had my car aligned, so it's not that, because my Mark 1, I had the alignment done on a Hunter, and the steering was still a bit off. I'm just going to make my gap a bit bigger, because it's a brand new car and it's already getting a bit, because it's rained this morning, but I tried to keep it clean. So yeah, the steering is nicer. The heater system as well. The old car had amazing air conditioning as well, but this car with these bigger vents, it's like being sat in a freezer if you have the aircon on. So yeah, the vents is nice. So the dash is much nicer than the old car. I don't care what people say online. In actual use for driving, this is a vast improvement. Vast improvement. Everything is very clear, and that is much nicer. So we've got Android Auto going at the moment, so Android Auto is really nice. Let me get it on, so there we are. So it shows you what gear you're in when you're moving. As you see, we're in fourth. We are in rush hour, and yeah, traffic's never great around this neck of this time of day, so it's why we're going so slow on a national speed limit road.
I think the dash looks kind of cheap because I'm used to the Alpine dash, which I think they've done really well with the graphics. The graphics on this,
to normal.
Yeah, the graphics on this are quite basic, but it does mean that it's very clear to read. It's just plain black and white. I feel like there's just too many fonts going on, maybe, or just maybe the.
Yeah, you can like make it display different things. I've not figured out how to get tyre pressures up yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of options.
You've got a boost gauge. I'll give it a little bit. You'll figure that out. Boost has gone up.
It seems very practical in use. I just think it's not really that pretty, but I suppose that doesn't matter very much. This though is a massive improvement over the previous version. It's got like new software on it. It's got a completely different menu, completely different sat nav, completely different options. The Android Auto I think pretty much works the same, except it's wireless now, which is obviously really good because you don't have to have like a cable with your phone plugged in. But it has got 2 USB-C ports if you did want to plug it in, and Toyota gave us a cable to use with that as well. But just the software in general on the infotainment's much better. The screen feels more responsive as well. So it must be Toyota obviously in the last like 3 years have updated their infotainment software, and it's a big improvement. The only weird thing I found is that when you've got your phone connected for Android Auto, it won't let me also connect it to the hands-free. So you can make phone calls through the Android Auto, but you can't use the hands-free on the steering wheel. It just seems to tell you to connect your phone, and then when you go to connect your phone, it turns off the Android Auto. So I'm guessing that's probably going to be a software update at some point, because in the Alpine it works fine, which has like a similar Android Auto hands-free wireless system. So I'm guessing it's probably just a software update needed in the Toyota. But I suppose we can switch back over, can't we, to the... I can show you what the Toyota sat-nav actually looks like. Yeah, that's the sat-nav software. It's pretty basic, but it never had it before in the circuit pack, so it's quite nice. And we think it might have JBL, because it seems to have extra speakers that the other one didn't have on the dash. At least I think they're speakers. Those 3 there.
No, the sound quality is nothing to rave about.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great. Our other one, we upgraded the speakers, and it was a pretty inexpensive upgrade. It just took like an hour or so.
£50.
Yeah, just to fit them ourselves.
These were the scary bits removing because there's airbags.
Yeah, but the sound system once again isn't great, but it doesn't really matter in a car like this.
No, it's more about the enjoyment of driving, which is why I didn't want an automatic. This is a hot hatch. I'm not interested in setting lap times. I'm not a professional driver. I'm not going to do track days. I'm going to enjoy this car on the road, and from my pure enjoyment in a hot hatch, you don't beat this little thing here and this third pedal.
Yeah, and the gearbox is different.
The gearbox is a massive improvement. It's not cheap, but without any of the synchro issues of the first car. So right, going up to a nice little turn here, so I'm going to not revving it hard. So yeah, it's like I'm going to throw it into this bend. It's nice and wet this morning. Yeah, look at that. Car feels that they have done something to the steering. The steering is nicer.
Yeah, and we have turned off the...
And the car definitely, when you like, oh, I'm just going to get past this junction, and if I do this and this, the car remains much flatter than before. It still leans a bit, which is nice, but the car is also far more direct in the way it turns and how it stays flat feeling.
So very good first impressions.
There's definitely an improvement to the Mark 1. I like the dash, it's clearer. Yes, I get your argument that it also looks a bit basic in the fonts. It'd be nicer if there was even more customized. I mean, you can customize it a bit. and you can make it display what you want it to display, but I've not figured out yet, but we'll do that when we're parked and not actually driving. Yeah.
Oh, and it does bing a lot.
Yes, the bing that you keep hearing is me breaking the speed limit. Oh, very naughty. And it's just bonging to let me know that you have gone beyond the speed limit, so...
Yeah, it thinks it's a 20 right now. I'm not sure it is a 20, but...
Yeah, I think we're at a 30, but
yeah.
We are in a housing estate and we were doing like 21 at one point, so it bonged at us. I think it bongs 3 times, and then it doesn't bong again for that given speed limit. Go.
Hello everyone, I am just on my first drive in the new Yaris, and I must say, to me it feels really, really different. It feels like it's got a lot more power, obviously driving it like really, really gently, just running it in, but it feels like you can speed a lot easier, and it feels like it has more power, like it's more eager to go. You can, like before, sometimes if you were in second and you were going a bit too slow, you'd kind of get that like bunny hopping or jerking, but in this car you don't seem to get that. It just seems like everything's a lot more eager, a lot smoother. I think the throttle mapping is also different as well. I'm pretty sure the throttle response has been tuned to feel like a bit more responsive. Maybe feels like the boost comes on sooner as well, but I'm not sure if that's just me remembering it differently. But it certainly feels like they've tuned it to maybe, I don't think it's actually got that much more horsepower, has it?
About 20, I think.
Yeah, it definitely feels quicker, but obviously we haven't been able to really give it any yet. But
and the speed limit warning is literally, you can see it tells you the speed there from the sign recognition, and when you exceed the speed you get like 3 very gentle bongs.
It's not really intrusive at all.
It's not, and the speed sign flashes, but it's not intrusive, it's not annoying, it's actually quite a nice reminder. It doesn't do anything in regards to the power or the way the car drives. It's just basically a reminder that they are, oh no. So if you like, obviously there's a speed camera coming up, but Bryony went to 31, you get some bongs.
Which is very easy to do in the new car, and I don't know what it is about it, but it's actually, whether it's because it's got more glass maybe?
I think with look at this, the view out is vastly improved, but I think the car feels a bit better insulated with the different throttle mapping. It hides its speed more.
It does hide speed more.
I wouldn't say that's necessarily a good thing.
No.
Some people like that, some people like just...
I feel like you could be absolutely flying and not realise it.
Yeah, this car actually needs that speed recognition and that speed reminder. A lot of the bongs you're hearing is because it's got Android Auto, and Bryony's phone is linked, so she's getting lots of messages from work, which is where we're actually heading to at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just doing my regular drive to work commute, and it's much nicer in traffic because it pulls off so much easier. Yeah, I say the clutch feels different as well. Like the biting point definitely feels different. The steering definitely feels different. Although I'm not sure if we've actually got the thing turned on. You used to have to hold it down every time you turn the car on, but I think it's actually off by default. Yeah, it's off by default now, which is nice. You used to do the whole startup routine of turn off the stop start, turn off the steering control, turn off the crash sensor control and things like that. But in this, I'm pretty sure it's off by default, which is quite nice. But yeah, I like it.
The ride is firmer.
Yeah, it's definitely firmer.
But it feels better quality.
Yeah.
So people saying the dampers aren't changed, so I don't know how they've quite achieved that to have a firmer ride, but an actual better ride quality.
Something about it is different. I imagine when you're giving it someone a B road, it feels fantastic. Oh, and the gearbox is definitely different, but I'm not struggling with it, which is good.
Yeah, the gearbox still has the nice notchy feeling, but not the bad side of the notchy feeling.
It feels quite familiar, which is nice. But the biting point is a bit different.
Yeah, the biting point feels lower down.
Yeah, it does feel much
But there's
lower.
more feel in the clutch. The clutch has a lot more feel, I feel, than the clutch in the Gen 1. You can really feel where it's biting. And
it might just be because it's brand new as well.
Yeah, but we had the other car from brand new.
Yeah, true.
And you struggled with that clutch from day one, and you've not struggled with this clutch.
No, I feel like I'm probably a better driver than I was 3 years ago, though. At least I like to hope so, anyway. Yeah, see, right now it's cruising in traffic, and it's not like being funny about it, whereas before it used to.
Yeah, on a hill it did not like crawling in first gear.
It hated it.
So you can basically be more or less a gear higher than you would be in the other car when cruising. Though obviously we're running this in, so we're typically keeping it a gear, actually keeping it in the lower gears, because obviously you must never, it's worse to labour a brand new engine than it is to rev a brand new engine. So we're making sure that we're keeping it the revs constantly above 2,000 RPM ideally.
I find the dash quite easy to read though. I definitely want to play it around. I think you can customise it a bit.
Yes, you can.
I would prefer to have the miles per hour in the middle and not the gear, but that might just be because we're in sport, I suppose.
Yeah, I change it now to normal. Keep an eye where you're going. So yeah, now the dash is in its normal mode. Don't know if the camera's picking that up, but you can actually get rid of that gear indicator. I was playing with it earlier. You can make it be blank, which I think does make the speedo bigger. And there you go, that's the bongs. So Bryony's very naughty, she's doing like 32 and it's bonged, but she's just going with the flow of traffic. Yeah. So it's a very gentle reminder. It's quite a nice reminder, to be honest. I'm actually going to do a pull away now in first gear on camera, don't stall. It's much easier, this car.
It is much easier to drive.
They've definitely tweaked everything in the car. It's fair to say everything has been tweaked.
And it feels nice. It's all good tweaks so far.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything that I don't like. The seating position is way better.
Yeah, Bryony's got the seating position quite low. All that headroom now.
Yeah.
Yeah, visor down, you can still see out, no issues.
Whereas before, I think I was up here.
The mirror's higher. So yeah, I think Bryony's first impressions is that she is enjoying.
I knew I'd like it. I knew I would like it because I do miss the Gen 1. So I knew I'd like it. I don't know whether it's worth the extra money though, I'll be honest. Because it's like...
How's your first impression compared to the Alpine?
It feels really different to the Alpine. Like, really different. I prefer the Alpine brakes. Now you've put some really nice brakes on that.
Yeah, we've got
brakes on
APs.
this, maybe because it's brand new, it feels a little
Middle.
bit I don't know what you'd call it. The brakes are quite immediate.
Yeah, the brakes are quite grabby, but
Yeah.
I think I remember the original being like that. The brakes, same brakes, they're fantastic. Obviously, you go from one. The Alpine's got a more progressive brake pedal, whereas this is on the brakes very quick. Even though it's a very sporty car to drive, the brakes are quite heavily assisted on that initial pedal press.
I think I don't like that. It reminds me of the Quadrifoglio when we had that.
I don't mind it because I quickly adapt to different cars, and for me, it's brakes just need to be good.
That feels nice when you load it up a bit.
And the brakes are
slow,
very good.
It's good. And I'm not sure if that's different. I think they're the same.
But yeah, everything's just slightly better.
Yeah.
Steering is a noticeable improvement. There's definitely more feel. They definitely improved the steering. The suspension, though, firmer. The car is much flatter in the turns. Much flatter. It leans far less.
Yeah, it does feel nice, and it's a different nice. I must say that when I was following it home, it's not that pretty from behind. I'm sure the other one never had it before, but there's like an exhaust seems to drop down further now, and it does have a different exhaust. So I'm sure on the first one it didn't have like a. It's almost like the clearance is lower. You know, if you went a bit off-road with it, I feel like it's not got as much clearance as the first one did. But I don't know if that's just me misremembering it, because it's been a while since I followed our Gen 1. But the exhaust seems to drop down further, and it means that it looks kind of weird from behind.
Yep.
Like the car in front of us right now is just smooth underneath, whereas the Yaris from behind, you can see like this big lump.
Basically what Brian is saying is like you can see the rear back box of the exhaust.
No, like the back box is okay. It's like a further pipe, like further in.
Oh, okay, so you can see more of the exhaust under the car when following.
Which looks weird, which I don't like because I don't remember it. But when the lights come on with the light bar, it looks really good. Like I'm going to drive it with the side lights on all the time because I think it looks much better.
So yeah, first impressions are overall good. Better steering, firmer but better ride. The car is more eager on light and part throttle, especially from low RPMs. It seems a much happier car when gently pulling away. Bryony, you're not looking to your left.
I'm waiting. He's not really accelerating, is he?
So we just joined a dual carriageway now. Bryony's getting the car filthy. She's following all the cars.
Ooh. Let's try it in 6th as well. 6th is a bit lax.
Don't labour an engine, please.
Okay.
So back to 5th, please. I'm trying to teach Bryony correct running in methods of an engine. If you want to give it a little bit of throttle, you don't do it from a low RPM. Once it's run in, which is 600 miles,
God, it's so easy to speed.
then you can
It's
drive,
actually quite scary.
drive it
I never felt like that.
anywhere you want. Yeah, this car hides speed, like at 70 mile an hour.
It must be something to do with the steering.
You feel like you're in a big insulated BMW almost. It's
Yeah, they really have actually. I think it would be much better on the motorway than the first one.
yeah, it's gonna definitely a much better motorway car as well. I mean, the first car was devastating on a British B road. This car is going to just be even more devastating on a British B road. I'm going to keep it filming now because we're nearly at work, so we might as well film our arrival into work. You know, as there's a couple of turns and a roundabout to go around.
Yeah, I'm going to take it easy.
A gear lower than you think you need to be. Don't get close to the truck, please. It'll cover us in crap. Give it a little bit.
Yeah, it's nice. The brakes are definitely very.
Go on, gently accelerate around the roundabout. Gently. Feel the diffs. There you go. There we are in normal mode on this drive. We're trying to drive it in all the different modes whilst it's being run in. So, you know, every possible mode on the diffs, every possible mode on the drive, just so the engine is being really exercised up and down the rev range gently. I say the worst thing to do with a brand new car, we've just arrived at Overclockers UK. The worst thing to do with a brand new car is just to go on the motorway and drive it in a high gear. That's not how you run an engine in. I'm just going over a speed bump. Yeah, takes that nicely.
That's so much better. That's definitely different. I think I noticed it in the cobbles. If anyone's ever been to RRG Macclesfield, the cobbles outside their showroom are a nightmare, but that really demonstrated the difference, I think.
Yeah, and it's just turned 10 a.m. here, so we're in time for work.
Yeah. Should we park it?
Brian's going to park it up.
I assume it's got reversing cameras. I don't
Yes.
know if it's got parking sensors.
Park it in the sun.
In the sun?
Yep. So I will continue filming as we get out.
Squeaky brakes.
Yeah, the brakes are squeaking, but again, they've not been properly used yet because the car's obviously not been given any hard driving. So they probably just need also bedding in. Got a rear camera.
Thing or anything.
Yeah, it's much nicer at manoeuvring speeds and pulling off.
Yeah, much better.
And the handbrake is just a ratchet
really
now.
different.
There's no clicks on the handbrake. It just pulls up.
That does actually feel really different, but it's nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice touch.
I'm going to get out and just do a quick walk around with the car in the sun. Bryony can be in charge of locking it up and parking it. Put the sun visor up, please.
I don't know where the key is.
Sun visor. And yeah, there is the car in the sun. Still reasonably clean on the drive-in. That's the 2024 GR Yaris. That's both our first drive impressions. Yeah. Yeah, definitely an improvement on the old car. Keep saying it's 10 grand extra, but I guess with inflation, the old car in today's money would actually probably be about 38 to 39,000 pound. So it's probably a 5,000 pound price increase if we take inflation into it. And if we call it a 5 grand increase, considering inflation, do I think it's worth an extra 5 grand? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it's worth an extra 5 grand. It's got such, all the little improvements just make it a much better overall car. Is it worth an extra 10 grand if we don't take inflation into the equation? No, I don't think it's worth £10,000 more. Anybody who got the Mark 1 at the original price of £33,000, that was a bargain. It was different times. You know, it was just as COVID was getting started. The whole world was different back then. world's a different place now. Inflation's gone wild, interest rates have gone massively up, and that's why I'll openly say I bought this car cash. There's no way I'd buy a car on finance at the moment. You know, the rates, even this is a brand new car from Toyota, and the best finance rate they could offer was 8.9% APR, which I think is disgusting. On a brand new car, I wouldn't expect 0% like they did on the Gen-1 Yaris, because yep, we bought the Gen-1 Yaris on a 0% finance deal. So there's no interest. That's cracking. But I would have thought, being a brand new car, that Toyota could have offered 2.9 or maybe 3.9%. At which case I would have took finance out on the car, simply because then I could leave my money in my bank account where it makes 5.25% interest. So I'd rather keep my money in my bank and make interest. But no, I bought this cash because I'm not paying 9% interest rates. And that's it. Yeah, let's see what. So sum it up in a few words.
Better, I suppose. It's better. I don't know. It's up to me whether it's worth it.
Well, if it was £5,000 more, taking inflation into it, do you think it's worth £5,000 more? I do. What do you think?
But if you take the used car market into account,
You can't do that. You can't compare new and used. Apples to apples. Not apples versus pears. It has to be apples versus apples.
Okay.
New versus new. With inflation, it's about £5 more.
Yeah.
Of that. But yeah.
I would say it's noticeable. Like, people that are worried that it's going to feel the same, it definitely doesn't feel the same.
Yeah.
It really doesn't feel the same. And I imagine when you get on a B road, it'll be faster, like a lot faster.
Yeah. Yeah. It hides speed, so it's going to carry more speed. Absolutely, it's going to carry a lot more speed. So yeah, the boot mat actually cost £5,000, not 10, but it's a very expensive boot mat. We are going to disable the keyless entry at some point, because I disabled it on the first one. Keyless entry is a terrible system, makes cars extremely easy to steal. Right, as always guys, thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe to the channel.